Hello everybody, I welcome you on this platform. My name is Satyajeet on the web of this academy. We are going to start with a new test today. This session is dedicated to the PYQ session, specifically dedicated to current affairs, and in the last session we also discussed some 20 questions on current affairs, and now we are going to start with few another 20 questions, especially from September month of 2022. As you know, this series is very important for this year's prelims 2023, and we have a separate YouTube channel for that, UPSC Dnyanadeep Academy UPSC channel, where we are on regular basis, daily basis launching these videos for your knowledge, for your updation, for your holding the crack on that examination, right? So I request you all on this academy's behalf and director's behalf to please refer these videos very meticulously. Without further delays, let's start with our first question. This first question is very interesting, one of the important area from environment. As you know, we will first of all read the question first, right? So question 1, consider the following statement about Taj Trapezium Zone, TTZ. The first option is the central government in exercise of the powers conferred under Environmental Protection Act of 1986 has constituted the TTZ Pollution Authority in 1998. This is the first option. So the first keyword in this option is nothing but TTZ, that is Taj Trapezium Zone. Secondly, TTZ is defined as the area of 10,400 square kilometer around the Taj Mahal to protect the monument from the pollution. And thirdly, it comprises the 3 World Heritage Sites such as Taj Mahal, Agra Fort and Fatehpur Sikri. First of all, let me make you clear that Taj Mahal is one of the very important heritage site in India. It is one of the World Heritage Site recognized by UNESCO. And as you know, in our constitution, we have a fundamental duty to protect such monuments, right? So in regards to that, also with the provision of the Environmental Protection Act, the government is duty bound to protect such heritage monuments, right? And that's how it has created one authority, a separate authority to look after the protection of the sites like Taj Mahal, especially Taj Mahal. That authority or that zone is called as TTZ, Taj Mahal Trapezium Zone. Basically, trapezium is a geographical shape of, as you know, trapezium, right? So the trapezium of the geographical shape, which is around 10,000 square kilometer area, where the polluting industries are not allowed. If they are polluting in nature, they are requested, they are mandated to shift towards greener solutions, greener technologies, or move out of that trapezium zone. So basically the idea behind this zone is that the 100 by 100 square kilometer, the trapezium zone should be very clean, such that the air should not affect the outer structure of the Taj Mahal. Okay. So if you are thorough with this theory of this TTZ, the statements are correct, by the way. The first is that yes, of course, this zone and the authority which looks after this zone's management is established under the Act of 86, that is Environmental Protection Act of 1986. This is correct, but its establishment is in the year of 1998. Fine. Second, yes, exactly, the figure is right. 10,400 square kilometer area is dedicated to this zone TTZ, where the 3 important sites are located: the Fatehpur Sikri, Agra Fort and Taj Mahal itself. So it goes beyond Uttar Pradesh and somewhere it goes toward Rajasthan and all. So the shape of that trapezium is somewhere like this. So okay, so this area of 10,400 square kilometer, this zone where the 3 sites are located like Taj Mahal, Fatehpur Sikri, Agra Fort, right, and such other areas which are important, and the location of the polluting industries is not allowed in this zone, such that it should not pollute it should not harm, it should not affect the structures, the important structures like these, right? So the correct statement are all the 3, and the correct option is A. Now let's move towards the second important, again, tribunal. What do you mean by tribunal, by the way? Tribunal is nothing but a court-like structure, not a court, not a mainstream court, which decides upon a particular matter given to that. And in India we have various tribunals like NCLAT, that is National Corporate Law Tribunal, etc., etc., and one of that is nothing but the UAPA tribunal. You know that we have one particular legislation, that is UAPA, right, Unlawful Protection Act, and under this act various persons and organizations are recognized as the terrorist persons or terrorist organizations, and the authority which decides upon these matters is nothing but the UAPA tribunal. Okay, now let's firstly read about the options. First, the tribunal consists of only one person, who has to be High Court judge. Secondly, all expenses incurred for this tribunal are borne out of the CFI, that is Consolidated Fund of India. Yes, and thirdly, the government order banning an organization can come into effect only when the UAPA tribunal has confirmed it. Okay, so basically this question is not on the act of UAPA, but it is on the tribunal specifically. Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, UAPA Act, and in recent let's say last couple of years, this legislation is under limelight because of various controversies per se. So we must be thorough about this UAPA as legislation also, and UAPA tribunal as a body also. So basically the tribunal consists of only one person. Yes, this statement is correct, and he has or she has to be the High Court judge. So accordingly the first statement is right. All expenses incurred are borne out of CFI, that is Consolidated Fund of India. Yes, of course. And the government order banning an organization can come into, of course, into effect only when the UAPA tribunal is confirms it. Yes, so basically under this act of Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, this provision, the government orders banning of an organization because it is involved in the terrorist activities. This provision is under the section 3 of you can say this UAPA Act. Just an additional information, banning organization can come into effect only when an UAPA tribunal confirms it. So this provision is under section 4 of the act. So basically yes, this statement is also correct, and the incorrect statement is none. Okay. Now third, the current affair, purely current affair based question, the Big Trail Lake recently seen the news located in, okay, so can you imagine where that location be? Yeah, it is in Alaska, but why it was in news and why it is of international significance? This lake, the Big Trail Lake, is formed out of thawing of the permafrost. Basically the keyword here is the permafrost. What do you mean by permafrost? Permafrost is the water content just below the ground level at let's say a couple of meters below the ground level, where that ice structure is permanently frozen, and that is frozen for centuries and centuries, right? So and thawing of that permafrost is actually concerning thing because of the ongoing global warming and climate changes. So permafrost is getting melted, त्याला आपण म्हणतो the thawing of, let's say, the permafrost, right? So out of that this lake is formed. So this is called as Big Trail Lake. So this is very important considering the environmental phenomena like the global warming and the climate change, right? So global warming and climate change concern मध्ये हा question होता. Big Trail Lake is in, actually the fact is that it is in Alaska, and you know that Alaska is located just, let's say, just nearer to the poles. It is beyond that 66.5 and somewhere like that, right? So the geographical locations which are beyond 66.5 are almost frozen, like we have Siberian region, Sweden, Finland, the upper northern parts of the Sweden, Finland and all. So Alaska is one of that geographical territory where the you can find out permafrost in huge number. But the concerning thing is that these structures are getting melted because of global warming, and it is nothing but a symbol, a sign of the so-called time bomb which is going to be so blast in near future of climate change, the time bomb of climate change. Third and the fourth is, consider the following statement about, just read the statement first of all, about the UNESCO, the Mondia Cult Conference. So UNESCO Mondia Cult Conference, again a very interesting conference, was held in one of the international cities. We will first look into the options. The aim of the conference is to build a resilient cultural sector in the line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And secondly, India is president of the UNESCO Mondia Cult Conference 2022, which is being held in New Delhi. What do you think? What can be the right answer? Basically, if you have read it, you will get the answer. Otherwise, this is going to be the no attempt question. Okay. So the idea is that the first statement is right. UNESCO has just recently organized one event, one conference called as UNESCO Mondia Cult Conference, which actually tries to align the cultural happenings, the cultural goals, the cultural you can say events of a particular country aligned with the sustainable development goals. So basically the cultural activities are aligned with SDGs. This conference is promoted, this conference promotes this idea of aligning the cultural activities with the SDGs. Okay. Secondly, the idea is not new. By the way, it is not the first conference. In 1982, the first such conference was held in Mexico City by the same institution, UNESCO. And after that, in 1998, in Sweden, in Stockholm. And thirdly, now this conference is of that third idea, currently held in Mexico again. So the idea is that it is not held in India nor in Delhi, it is being held in Mexico City. So the second statement becomes wrong. So India is president, no, it is Mexico. So which is the incorrect statement? The incorrect statement is, I'm sorry, 2 only. Okay, so this is okay, fine, and Mexico should be the correct word in this statement, right? Second statement. UNESCO Mondia Cult Conference. The keyword here is aligning the cultural activities, cultural events with the sustainable development goals. Okay. Fifth, consider the following statements about the Nilgiri Sholakili. Very beautiful bird. This question is about a particular bird species which is found in abundance. Not in abundance, by the way, which is not found in abundance in Nilgiris, the higher Nilgiris. And you know that in Nilgiris we have a peculiar form of forest, unique form of forest located in Nilgiris, on the slopes of the Nilgiris, on all the 3 sides of the Nilgiris, let's say from Kerala side, Tamil Nadu side and Karnataka side. That forest type is called as Shola forest. Okay, so deriving the name from those forests where the bird resides, the bird gets name as what you can say the Nilgiri Sholakili, right? So the question is about that bird itself. It is found at 900 to 2100 elevation of Shola forests in Upper Nilgiris. Yes, this statement is right, and it is listed as critically endangered by IUCN. So which of the following is correct? It was earlier listed as endangered, but it has now been upgraded to critically endangered. So this statement is also right. So earlier it was endangered, now it is critically endangered. That's why it is in news, because day by day the number of the birds is again shrinking. So it might be because of deforestation, it might be because of let's say the global warming, it might be because of various other reasons like pollution and polluting industries and transportation. So basically this question is again an awareness drive to conserve this very beautiful and the rare species in Nilgiri forest, that is Sholakili. So the correct statement becomes both 1 and 2. Consider the following statements about the Agri-Adapt initiative. Agri-Adapt, it is a portal, by the way. Okay, so it is a portal, Agri-Adapt, the government has recently launched. So do you know about Agri-Adapt? Firstly, we will consider the options. Agri-Adapt was developed by the World Resources Institute, that is WRI, and National Agro Foundation, that is you can say NAF. It is a free online tool to help farmers plan their activities based on the climate conditions. Okay, and the thirdly, Agri-Adapt targets 3 crops globally, that is rice, cotton and wheat. The very important challenge before the farmers is nothing but the vulnerabilities and you can say the very changing nature of the climate itself, right? And day by day, because of this climate change, we are observing the frequencies of droughts and the frequencies of floods is getting increased. The complete climate is getting changed, and that's how the farmers are not able to plan their activities, their harvesting activities accordingly in the upcoming years. And that's how to give a forecast to the farmers, to give the forecast to the activities to the farmers. The initiative has been launched as Agri-Adapt, where the two important institutions are actually involved. The Agri-Adapt was developed by WRIS, actually, yes, World Resources Institute, and secondly, the National Agro Foundation. This statement is correct. Secondly, it is a free online tool to help farmers to plan their activities based on the climate conditions. So it is somewhat like forecasting digitally enabled, more advanced tool and portal where they will get the forecast of the upcoming and the current situations of the weather, and accordingly the farmers can plan their harvesting and agricultural the activities. And thirdly, Agri-Adapt targets 3 crops globally. So basically they have given in this option rice, cotton and wheat. So the twist here was, yes, rice and cotton are there in this list, and but not wheat. Here we have coffee. Okay, so we have coffee here, not as wheat. So Agri-Adapt actually targets 3 crops, rice, cotton and coffee. So therefore this third, and interestingly you will if you can just refer the official website of this Agri-Adapt, you will get, we have 2 Indian languages in this portal also, right? So Tamil and Telugu best portal on the global platform. This is very proud moment for India. So yes, both the statements are correct. So correct is 1 and 2, right? 7th, with the respect to the cryogenic engines, consider the following statement. Again, important area from the space, you must be thorough with these questions. Cryogenic engine is the latest technology which makes use of the effluents, like the effluents, or you can say, I'm sorry about that word, effluent, not effluent, but the propellants like hydrogen and oxygen deriving from the atmosphere itself. What is challenging in the space research and the space mission is that the weight of the fuels is such that, or the major challenge is how to minimize the weight of the fuels. So to minimize the weight of the fuels and to give it as a bigger boost, the scientists have derived one simple and innovative technology, that is cryogenic engines, where it derives the oxygen from the atmosphere and it actually burns the fuel. Okay, so without adding to the payload of this space mission, without adding to the payload of the spacecraft, the oxygen is derived from the what you can say atmosphere. So a cryogenic rocket engines uses gases which have been gasified and are stored at very high temperatures. So the complete statement is wrong. Basically they are in liquid stages, I'm sorry, liquid and not high, by the way. Okay, so the word should be liquid and at very low temperatures. And the cryogenic rocket uses the gases, by the way, the fuels they use is liquid hydrogen plus liquid oxygen. Okay, a cryogenic engine or cryogenic stage are the first stage of the space launch vehicles which makes use of cryogenics. No, the cryogenic engine, it started is boosted in the upper stages, not the first stages. So the word here should not be the first, it should be upper. Okay, basically those space missions, spacecrafts are of 3 to 4 stage missions. I think you are okay with the what do you mean by the stages of the mission, where the fuels get ignited according to the stage by stage basis, according to the requirement. In few stages it can be solid, in other stages can be liquid and all. So depending upon the nature of that stage, the gravitational force, the design of the stage is accordingly to that gravitational force. So basically it should not be the first stage, it should be the upper stage of the space launch vehicles which makes the use of cryogenics. So I think yes. So both the statement are wrong. So correct is neither. Okay, so the 7th. Now the eighth, consider the following statements. Again, very important institution, very important mission. You might have heard about this because it is concerned with the Paris Agreement. So the mission innovation is an intergovernmental platform announced on the sidelines of the Paris climate. Yes, of course. And you know that Paris Agreement was nothing but for the global effort to bring down the global warming effect, right? So yes, the mission innovation in that regard is nothing but innovating technologies which can be sustainable in nature. Second, mission integrated biorefineries. Okay, so the keyword is biorefinery. What do you mean by refinery? Okay, so just deriving the various fuels separately, let's say diesel, petrol and all. But what is biorefinery? The biofuels are treated in these biorefineries. The mission integrated biorefineries was launched by the mission innovation and co-led by India. Very important institution, again a proud moment for India on global scale. This statement is also right. Mission integrated biorefineries had the target of replacing 10% of the fossil based fuels by biofuels in SDG format. By the way, fuels by 2030 and sustainable fuels. So yes, mission innovation, the first statement, it was launched on the sidelines of Paris. Secondly, India has co-led the mission biorefineries, and thirdly, of course, this statement is also right, where we have target of 10% replacing the biofuels by 2030 under this mission. Okay, so the three statements are right here. So the option becomes D. Consider the following statements with respect to Shanghai Cooperation. Very, very important, not only for prelims but also for mains and interview. So Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO should be prepared in very holistic manner. But what they are given in this question, we will firstly look into that. The SCO is Eurasian Political, Economic and Security Organization. You know that as Shanghai Cooperation, as it has majorly Asian partners, we have Russia also in that. So basically, because of that, it becomes Eurasian. SCO is governed by the heads of state councils, SHCS. The HCO ला एक leading त्यातली जी authority, that authority is named as HSC, that is heads of state council. It is a supreme decision making body in SCO. Yes, and the Samarkand summit recently which was held Samarkand recently. Can you please tell me where is Samarkand? Samarkand is actually in Uzbekistan. So Samarkand summit held recently admitted Iran as a full member. No, actually in Samarkand summit, the membership of Iran was under consideration. So the country Iran was not full member yet in Samarkand mission. So they considered about the membership of the Iran. So this statement is technically wrong. So the third statement is wrong and first two statements are correct. So basically yes. So as a full-time member, no, admit nahi kele azun, they were considering that. Okay. So this is wrong. Swachh, yes, toy cathon, very interesting initiative, toy cathon. Okay, basically we invest a lot of resources making toys for children, right? That can be plastic, that can be many other, and the whole toy making industry at the global level is actually shifting towards non-sustainable platforms, non-sustainable direction, right? And considering the need of the day, the Indian government has actually launched one important initiative, that is Swachh Toy Cathon, where the government is promoting sustainable material, reuse, recycling for toy making industry. The government is promoting the manufacturing of the toys from the West basically. So the first idea is that the toys, waste to toys. Okay, so that can be the idea of waste to toys. Okay, so this initiative was for that. This initiative aims to bring circularity. What do you mean by circularity? It is recycling, circularity, the circular economy आपण त्याला असं म्हणतो, where the resources are recycled, reused, so circularity in design and packaging of the games and toys. It is being undertaken by Niti Aayog and Ministry of Commerce and Industry. No, this statement is wrong. Actually, it is under DIPPT. Okay, this is a separate department for industries and trade. So the correct statement is one only, I think. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, DP, by the way, Department of Promotion for Industries, DPIIT. I'm sorry for that. So DPIIT. Okay, so the one statement. Now 11, Dharmashala declaration recently seen in the news is related to what? Can you recall that? And recently the government held one important national conference on tourism. It was a 3 days national conference on tourism, where it was held in Dharmashala, and in that national conference on tourism, Dharmashala declaration was announced, and which calls for sustainable and responsible tourism actually. Okay, so this is the statement. For the correct statement is sustainable tourism. So that idea was the national conference on tourism, and in this declaration they have actually aimed for collecting the revenue of $1 trillion by 2047. So the revenue target for sustainable development, sustainable tourism development, revenue target is equal to $1 trillion USDs by 2047. This is important fact. So there is need of $1 trillion currency amount for developing tourism on sustainable lines by 2047. So they are going to collect that. 12th, so basically this is C. 12th, Operation Mega Chakra, recently seen in news related to. Simple idea, very simple question. If you know this, you can answer this. So basically, is it about the shell companies, or it is about the sexual child abuse material, which is called as CSAM? Shortcut for that is the official shortcut. Sexual, the child sexual abuse material. That means the child pornography. Okay. So basically, the statement B is correct. This operation was organized by Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI, and just in the last year in 2021, it has also conducted one very important such same operation called as Operation Carbon in 2021. So Operation Carbon 2021 Carbon. Okay, the Operation Carbon is same initiative on the same lines organized by CBI, which calls for the raiding such persons or organizations which promote, share, etc. The circulation of child sexual abuse material. Okay, so Operation Megha Chakra. 13, about Sitana Bansal, very important geographical site from art and culture. Sitana Bansal in news because of, we'll firstly read the statements. The 13th, it was major center of Jain influence 1000 years just before the Christian era, fine CE. Sitana Bansal is the only place in Tamil Nadu that houses Pandya paintings, and Sitana Bansal houses the Aravir Kobil, that is temple of Arihas, and the Megaliths burial site. So there is no logic behind that, but basically this is factual concept, factual question, and you should know about this, is very important. So basically Sitana Bansal is Jain caves complex. Okay, Jain caves, and beyond that all these statements are correct. So yes. Consider the following statement about the international groupings. The one important group is L69 group. Okay, and the second is Azul-Bini consensus. Okay, the two keywords they have used. So L69 group forms a major block that is united by the common cause of achieving and lasting the comprehensive reforms in the United Nations Security Council. This is very important area to discuss in mains, especially in international relations, where the topic is under United Nations reforms, especially the reforms which are needed, which are due in United Nations Security Council. As you know, UNSC has 5 permanent members which are very powerful in nature. They have much more powers than the other members of United Nations, and the UNSC consists of 15 members, total 15 members. Out of that, 5 plus 10, and 5 are permanent and 10 are non-permanent. Okay, so basically the logic behind the formation of the United Nations Security Council and the giving membership to the particular 5 countries is questioned on frequent lines, on regular basis, and India forms one of those important member which questions the logic behind formation of the UNSC. Considering that organization as a discriminatory in nature, exclusive in nature, which actually excludes the contemporary geopolitical realities, where India should also get the membership of UNSC, considering it is one of the very important, powerful nations of the world. So, in simple words, the various countries, including India, Japan, and etc., they are demanding for the reforms in the institutional structures of United Nations, and such group which calls for very important reforms, bringing democracy, bringing equality, bringing justice in these institutional structures of UN is nothing but L69. India is part of those groupings. Okay, so yes, Azul-Bini consensus is a position of international relations and conforms on the same lines. United Nations agreed by ASEAN countries. No, actually this is same consensus on the same lines, bringing the reforms in United Nations structures, institutional structures, is given by African Union. Okay, so the second statement is wrong and the first is right. Therefore 14 only we have correct statement as A. Following statements as a radio altimeter. What do you mean by altimeter? The name itself suggests altimeter, म्हणजे alti plus meter. It means altitude measure करणारा instrument. And you know that how the aeroplanes and all, they measure their height from the sea level or ground and etc. And if you travel from the airplanes, you will get the announcement, frequent announcement that we are from this feet height from the sea level or ground level. So how do they measure? They measure with the help of the instrument called as altimeter, where they actually emit some sound waves, and the reflection, out of that reflection we can get the exact height of that aeroplane from the ground level. So basically altimeter is that instrument which measures the height of the flying objects. So the radio altimeter is an instrument that is used in measuring the frequency of and latency of 5G signals. No, this is factually not correct. So as I told you why it is not correct, it is used to measure the height of the flying objects. C-band spectrum is the middle of the radio spectrum with frequency bands of 3.7 to 3.98 gigahertz, and it supports 5G. Yes, if you are thorough with the 5G technology, the technicalities of 5G technologies, you will get yes, this is correct statement. So basically C-band spectrum is the middle of the radio spectrum with the frequency bands of 3.7 to 3.98 gigahertz. So correct statement is nothing but 2 only. Again, consider the following statements about the breakthrough agenda report of the 16, question number 16. A breakthrough agenda report of 2022. It was launched in COP24 of Katowice and Poland. Okay, so you should be knowing about what do you mean by that breakthrough agenda report of 2022. Basically, it is a report which tracks the lowering emissions in different 5 sectors, lowering of the emissions in the 5 sectors, namely power, namely transportation, namely agriculture, namely H2, namely steel. Okay, so these are the 5 sectors where the emissions are actually traced, their lowering of emission is traced. So it was launched during COP24 Poland. No, factually it was launched in IEA, I mean by IEA, International Energy Agency, plus International Renewable Energy Agency, that is ARENA, and United Nations. So basically 3 important institutions are involved in launching of this report, that is IEA, that is Energy Agency, ARENA, that is International Renewable Energy Agency, and United Nations. So this is wrong. The agenda report, IPCC, no. The agenda aims to make the clean technology most affordable and attractive by choice of globally. Yes, of course. And India is not signatory. This is also wrong because India is signatory. So basically, technically, we have 3 statements wrong here, as it has nothing to do with COP24 of Poland. It is a separate document, a separate breakthrough agenda. Secondly, this is no, IPCC does not play a role here. We have IEA, ARENA, and UN playing role here, and this statement is right, and India is signatory, so this is wrong. So incorrect statement is nothing but 1, 2, and 4. Okay. 17. MA Khader committee recently, which submitted its report to government of state government. So that is actually very important topic, objective topic, is related to what. And if you are going through the news, recent news of last 6 months, you might have come across this news. Khader committee has submitted its report to Kerala government, and the report, the concern was nothing but reforming the education sector of Kerala completely. So the topic comes from the area of school education, reforming the school education of the Kerala state, by the way. Okay. So the Kerala government is very positive about accepting the recommendations of the Khader committee. That is the main part. 18. PYQ, seen in the news, is related to which of the following context? Very important initiative, very important regulator that has been launched by the government. PYQ. The PYQ, its अर्थच होतो है कि to assess. Okay. So PYQ is nothing but a regulator. A regulator to assess the performance, of the various sectors. Especially the long form is performance assessment review and analysis of knowledge for holistic development. And this regulator is going to submit its reports like national assessment survey, state assessment survey, etc. in education sector. So the PYQ is nothing but a new regulator in education sector which is going to submit reports like NAS and all. So it is performance assessment reports. Okay, so how the education sector is performing, what has been the lacunas, what has been challenges, etc. So PYQ is that new regulator the government has launched recently. 19. About the statement, very important initiative again, the categories of the companies based on their performances, their scale and sizes. As you know, in we have corporations, companies in private sector as well as we have those in government sectors which are called as PSUs, or public sector enterprises. And these PSUs or PSEs are actually the categories. They are categorized by the government on the three different categories like Maharatna, Navratna, Mini Ratna. And again, this is very important, like lengthy theoretical subject. You should go through that topic, why these companies are called as Maharatna, why these companies are called as Navratnas, why these other companies are called as Mini Ratnas. And the government actually recognizes the status of those government corporations, PSAs, based on their performance, based on their scale, based on the profits, based on their investments. And accordingly, depending on the criteria, depending on the titles the companies and corporations are getting, the let's say if a particular company is Maharatna, it will get autonomy in more form, it will get investment in more form, it will get more rights to invest on the independent lines from the government. So likewise, the option will read the options. An order to the effect of the Maharatna status is issued by the, of course, Department of Public Enterprises, okay, DPE, in the Ministry of Finance. Perfect. The first statement is right. The board of Maharatna CPSC can make equity investment to undertake the financial joint ventures and wholly owned subsidiaries. Yes, because Maharatna companies are strategically more important, they are economically more scalable, they are profitable. Like for example, Coal India and GAIL and all, right? So these companies they are independent in nature, they are more autonomous than the other companies, and yes, that's how the second statement become wrong. The board gets more rights. The status also allows the board to undertake mergers and acquisitions of India and abroad. Let's say for example, you might have heard about that Videsh, oil company, right? India's oil company, GAIL and Videsh Limited, right? So basically, why that those acquisitions are happening on the shorelines or the abroad? Because those companies are getting more rights in terms of these acquisitions and mergers, but it is up to some particular scale, so subject to ceiling. So all these three statements are correct regarding that. So the status also allows the board to undertake mergers and all. So basically, in terms of the acquisition, merger and more rights, the Maharatna is the uppermost category. So all the three statements are correct. Consider the following statements about Dvorak technique. So Dvorak technique is a very interesting concept. We'll first read these statements. The Dvorak technique is cloud pattern recognition technique based on the development and decay of the tropical cyclone. And you know that cyclone is one of the very important geophysical phenomena. Maybe it can be considered as very important geophysical calamity, disaster, which can affect the regional atmosphere, regional weather, regional climate to much extent that it can bring about the economic hampering to the economy. So basically, to trace, to actually monitor the development of the cyclone, the Dvorak technique has been developed. It helps to forecast, to do patterns recognition of the observed structure of the storm located it also locates its eye, it also locates intensity of the storm. So basically we are nothing but forecasting the development of cyclones and its path, its strength, and etc. Thirdly, this tool cannot help make an prediction, measure wind, yes of course, pressure parameter associated with the cyclone, yes. तर ह्या तिन्ही स्टेटमेंटमध्ये करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट हे तिन्ही आहेत. बेसिकली ॲक्च्युली इट युजेस इन्फ्रारेड अँड विजिबल सॅटेलाइट इमेजेस टू ट्रेस द डेव्हलपमेंट ऑफ द सायक्लॉन्स बेस्ड ऑन दी, यू कॅन से, त्याला एक शब्द आपण वापरतो दॅट इज कॉल्ड ॲज सायक्लोजेनेसिस. सायक्लॉन तयार होणं, सायक्लोजेनेसिस हे ट्रेस करतात ते बाय युझिंग इन्फ्रारेड. इन दिस टेक्निक वी यूज इन्फ्रारेड और विजिबल satellite imagery. Okay, so statements correct are nothing but all these three, and on these lines I would like to conclude with this Dvorak technique which is used for, the keyword here is cyclone weather. Okay, so thank you very much. We'll meet soon with the next few questions. Thank you.